Well, hello, wealthy women. I am so truly inspired and excited to share my beautiful interview with you today. I have Barbara here, and the work that she is doing is so transformational for women. It's just amazing because she's going to help you get so familiar and accepting of your beautiful qualities and who you are and make the most out of them so you can thrive and succeed in whatever journey you are on. So, without further ado, let me pass it over. She's going to tell you all about her work and why it matters and the big impact she's making on this world. And then, as you know, we'll go into our success questions round and have a good understanding of what her journey to her success has been. So, Barbara, go ahead and take it away and tell us all about you.
Oh, thank you so much for this wonderful introduction and for having me on, Tamara. I really appreciate it.
My
So yeah, what do I do? This is always a very interesting question, right? And in essence, it's very broad what I can do. The short answer is I guide people on their journey from unhappiness to being happy and fulfilled. But this is still very vague, right? It can encapsulate a lot of things. So for me, this starts with getting to know yourself really well, getting to know your user manual, what makes you you, what are your gifts, what are your talents, but also what are your shadows, what are your belief patterns, what are your traumas that are still stored, getting the complete picture of you so that you can decide what you want to keep, what you no longer want to keep because it's no longer serving you. So that might mean that we need to do some healing or some clearing or some shadow work, some inner child healing. It can be a variety of things, but all of it is meant to bring out your authentic self, your true self, your core self that you've actually always been, but that most of us have lost sight of for a wide variety of reasons. And sooner rather than later, this catches up with us. And then the things that we created, like beliefs or autopilot programs, no longer work for us, but start to work against us. And they're starting to block us, and usually they make us unhappy. They can cause a wide variety of physical complaints, and a lot of us end up in either a burnout or some sort of serious accident or serious illness. And that has to do with not being you, your authentic self, your true self. Most of us are playing at ourselves, meaning we wear masks. I had a mask for when I was with my family. I had a mask for when I was with my friends. I had a mask for when I was at work, two actually, because I had one for my coworkers and one for my boss. And most of us have this. And this means that we are not being true to ourselves. It usually means that we are not having a career that utilizes our talents and our unique gifts. And in general, it's making us miserable. We are feeling stuck. We can have thoughts like, is this really all there is to life? You can feel shame. I'm supposed to be happy. I have seemingly everything, a good partner, good job, a house, maybe children, pets, a seeming good life, and you're feeling unhappy with it, and you're feeling unfulfilled, and this makes you feel ashamed to admit. So all of these things are caused because we haven't been living our authentic life. So for me, it starts with that, because that is the strong foundation that we need for everything. So the ins and outs of your user manual. And then when you are very clear on who you are and you've already started healing lots of the things that are keeping you stuck where you don't want to be, then we can look at, but what am I here for? What is my purpose? What is my mission? What is the thing that I am meant to be doing? And for whom am I meant to be doing this then? That will give me this fulfillment that I'm looking for. And for most of my clients, eventually this means that they become their own boss, that they start their own business. So I can guide them also in the process of discovering what type of business you want to have, who you are meant to be serving, how you are meant to be talking to them so that they resonate with your message. So what I do is very broad, and it depends on what part of your journey you are actually in, but it all starts with the strong foundation.
My goodness. Wow. It's everything that you just said, everything, because that authenticity, the authentic life is the life that will bring the joy, and knowing that you're on purpose, and where you wake up with that bounce in your step because you just are just so naturally motivated and inclined. But you are so right there. I love how you call it a user's manual. That's fantastic. Yes, love that. And there are those detours along the way that, little roadblocks, and we need to find the clearest path to our purpose, right? That's the most enjoyable experience. And we don't always know how to navigate that because many times we can't even see how we are blocking ourselves. And it takes an expert like yourself to be able to help somebody see it for themselves and to be able to help them start to transform it. So maybe you can share a little bit about like how how would you work together with someone new in
Mhm.
your program?
Yeah. I love to share about that. So, because I come from a background of poverty and lack, I know what it feels like to struggle, and I know what it feels like to not have money but have big dreams and big desires and such. So, I strive to create programs for every price point and for every part of your journey because I find that to be very important. So I have low ticket ways of working with me, like for instance, my community. It's called Solutions, Solutions for the Soul, for Life and Business. And it's 28.88 a month. So not a very high investment, and you get weekly live meetings with like-minded people and with me, of course, where we come together to talk about our journey. We share our ups, we share our downs, but we are also studying ourselves. I start people usually off with something I call the BU by Design blueprint, and you can request this from my website hspcoachbarbara.com. And this is a combination between human design and the gene keys that will give you a blueprint of who you are and your strategy, your energy type, your decision making, but also your frustrations or the things that are keeping you blocked. That will give you already great insights into yourself. And this is what we then study in the community. We go deeper, we talk about what it means, we get additional information about it. I offer some coaching and some guidance for when you're stuck, but there's also great advantage to be found in listening to each other's stories. And, just most of my members don't have anybody in their family or in their friends with whom they can talk about this journey. So for most of us, it's a very lonely journey, and it can be a real struggle, and it can be intensely painful. And if you don't find the community with whom you can share it, that, with a couple of words extend the other 5,000 words that you're not saying, that's so incredibly valuable. And so those two things, the blueprint and the community, would already be a really great way of starting.
Mhm.
And then from there, I have online programs, a couple of different ones depending on what you need, which could be a really good point for already starting to go even deeper, learning more. This can be combined either with group coaching or with one-on-one mentoring with me, so that you can do the basics already by yourself, and that you then can use the contact moments to go a lot deeper and get the most out of it. So in general, for most people, these are the ways of working with me. And of course, then I have a high level mastermind for other entrepreneurs like me. because this is a true mastermind, not what everybody calls a mastermind and is actually group coaching in disguise. No, this is really a mastery of the minds, where I bring together a group of a maximum of 6 people, preferably all different types of businesses, so that you have different types of minds, different types of knowledge and strategies. And then together we are dedicated to each other, to our highest success. This means that whenever one of us has an event, the others promote it on social media, to their newsletters, for each other, always. It also means that we have affiliate things set up for each other, that if people come through my newsletter for you, that I get a little bit, they get the service they need, and you get a new client. So it's a win-win-win for everybody. And then there's the hot seat, where members of the group can ask the other members for tips or advice on how to tackle things or how to do things, where you can really be sort of coached or mentored, but by a group of your peers, because eventually you reach a level in your business where you don't need one mentor or coach full time anymore. In the beginning, incredibly valuable. That's, I want to say worthy, but no, valuable is the better word. But you don't need someone permanently anymore. But every now and then, you just want to talk to someone and
Yeah.
ask someone. So that's the high level mastermind that is also available to, well, yeah, like-minded entrepreneurs that feel called.
Beautiful, beautiful. And can you tell everybody what your website is? Maybe spell it out too, so
Yes.
anyone listening will hear it as well.
I will do that. So my website is called HSP Coach Barbara, and you spell that as HSP Coach, and then my name Barbera. So the difference is in the E in the middle, not an A.com. Or you can go to my other website, which is called To Be in Balance, the number two, and then be in balance.com. So those would be great. And you can also find me on all social medias under also HSP Coach Barbara. So my YouTube channel will give you a lot of insight into my way of thinking and my energy, which would be a really great way of getting to know me, to figure out if you want to, have a conversation, which is possible through the descriptions on all my videos, or Facebook, LinkedIn, reach out, connect.
I love this. I love everything that you're doing because it helps someone from either the starting stage or the stage where they're really there but they need that fine tuning. And it must be so fulfilling for you to see the transformations happen before your eyes. and
Yes.
and for your clients, do they, would you say that most of them have a sense of what their block is, or they're really not even aware and you're able to help them see it? And then it's like,
In
the
general, they are not aware. That's also where I differ from a lot of other people. When we do real deep work, for deep traumas or patterns that you don't see or have no clue where they are coming from, most people only work on the first level of the subconsciousness, but the subconsciousness has 4 levels. So I can go to all 4 levels, and I can even go to the deepest, the fourth level, where we can have something that's called ghost clusters. And a cluster, we always make a cluster when something traumatic happens. A cluster is basically a mini movie of that scene, that moment, with all the sounds, smells, images, everything, right? And we store that into what Eckhart Tolle calls our pain body. And usually when something is triggered, we can think, oh, that's because of yada yada yada, right? So then we know the cluster. But I had one that I wasn't aware of. The only thing I noticed with myself was that I thought I became incredibly aggressive when I heard classical music. And being aggressive with classical music is in general not the response that people have to classical music.
it's usually the
So
opposite, right? Yeah.
right, and it wasn't and I thought it was aggression, because as soon as I felt it all this came up, and then I walked away, right? I turned it off, or I walked away, so it never went any further, until a couple of years ago I was locked in a car with someone who played classical music, and I couldn't get away from it, and I tried to put in my ears and my own music, and it wouldn't connect to the internet. And I didn't have music
Oh,
on my phone. So I was forced to endure it. And then I started hyperventilating and I started crying. And it was such a over the top response to classical music. And that the guy I was with in the car, I scared him. That's how bad it was. And I never knew what it was about until I found someone who taught me also to work on this level. And it turned out to have to do with something that had happened to me while I was still in uterus, that far back, and you really do not have any conscious recollection of it because you have technically not even been born as your human form yet. And so these can also block you, and you're definitely not aware of those. So it really depends on what level they are at. And what I forgot to say is I'm also incredibly creative. So I'm constantly creating things. I have created a lot of different journals that are for sale on Amazon about shadow work or inner child work or gratitude or transformation or all these types of things. And I create healing
oh, beautiful, beautiful.
pendants, and they are called organites, and I create a wide variety of them in different sizes. So this is a mid-size. There are ones that are smaller, there are ones that are bigger. I also create orbs, and they are a combination between gemstones. This is a geometric pattern. It can have a tensor ring for a complete connection to above and a constant replenishing of your energy. They can help balance, they can help ground, they can help heal. Sometimes they have metals in them so that they also put a protective field around yourself, which makes it easier to stay true to your energy instead of being affected by the outside world.
Yeah.
So all
Staying in
these
your
things
roots. Yeah.
help.
I love it. I mean, you can feel how dedicated and on purpose you really are. You're on a mission, you have a passion, and it is your soul's work to help others because you realize the transformations that can happen. And it is so true. So often we shared this when we had our conversation. You think, you kind of know yourself, you do all the things, you do your gratitude journal, you meditate, you walk in nature, and you're like, I know who I am. But you'd be so surprised that even as aware of yourself that you are, that there are blocks that you don't see. And I had one. It was a money block for me, and I didn't even know. I just
Yeah.
knew that I was stuck, and I couldn't figure out what my problem was because I was always ambitious and I always had, you know, all the things lining up properly and doing all the things. And then at some point I just couldn't move forward. I was stopping myself, and I just knew that it wasn't my normal behavior, but I didn't know why. I didn't know
Mhm.
what it was connected to. And I happened to be lucky enough to go to an in-person event, and I knew I wanted help. I wanted to fix this even though I didn't know what it was. Raised my hand, got put on stage. Within 15 minutes she called it out. I recognized it. I said, "Oh," it was like an epiphany,
Light bulb.
a light bulb moment. Like, and then of course you're like, well, how come I couldn't have figured that out? How did
Yeah.
I miss that? And then I was able to learn how to fix it and got it completely out of my way. Now, this was causing me to not earn money.
Mhm.
Okay. Like, I have never had this problem before. And this is a major problem. I was just in my own way. And so when I say it is so important sometimes to get outside help to help you find your blocks you don't even know you have, trust me, I am a living example of it. It moved me so much. This is exactly why I went into women's empowerment coaching, specifically for the money side of things, because this was so transformational to
Mhm.
me. And once I got it and realized, wow, I want to help because I got helped,
Mhm.
that was it. I was on my mission and here I am doing my thing. And so, Barbara, I get what you're saying. Like, people don't really know that they have these blocks, even though they think they know everything about themselves, which is great. And you probably know a whole lot about yourself, but you have to trust Barbara. You have to trust me. I had the experience. We don't know everything. And it is so helpful when you have a coach that can see you and is aware of those type of patterns that it's easily recognizable to the coach. And
Mhm.
so please reach out to Barbara because she's got a wealth of help that will serve you in the highest form so you can become the best self that you want to be authentically, right? So I love
Yes.
this. Okay, so we're going to move on to the success questions. Um, and I am so excited about this because this will help others to realize that your journey of building your successful business is probably similar to some of the things that they are going through or
Yeah.
may go through. And it's a great way for them to kind of realize, okay, this is normal. I'm not alone. I can get through this.
I'm
So,
not weird. I'm not strange.
yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Well, we're probably all a little bit weird, but we
Yeah,
celebrate
well,
that,
that's
right?
actually my biggest transformation, right? I used to think I was weird and I was strange and that there was something wrong with me that I needed to fix. And
Yeah.
now I think I'm weird and I'm strange and I'm loving it. And I would love it if
Yes,
you vibed with me.
yes. I think, it's just, it's all about how you package it, right? So it's
Yes.
exactly how you decide to interpret things. And, bottom line is we are all amazing. We are just blessings. And to be able to find your true voice so that you can then be blessings to others. I mean, that is the ultimate success in life. Yes,
Yeah.
we're all looking for financial success and health success and relationship success and all of the things. But Barbara, what you said, the foundation of living your life authentically, there's nothing better than that, right?
No.
That's where it all starts from. So,
Yeah.
okay. So the first question I have for you is maybe you can share and inspire other women that are either about to start building their business or already in the trenches of building it and want to grow more. Can you share in detail how you feel successful and wealthier because of building your own business? Like, how has building your business empowered you?
This is an excellent question. So, when I was still working for the boss, I always felt like I was lacking. I always felt insecure about my talents. I felt insecure about the level I had reached in my talents. People kept seeing things in me, and I thought, oh, slow down. This is too much too soon. And I felt like I was walking on eggshells on the one hand and also stretched way too thin. So that was the business side. And then I haven't even talked about the company politics that were happening and the ass kissing and the down kicking, which is just really not who I am. And I always got passed over for promotions and things because I didn't play the game. And I didn't want to have to learn to play the game in order to get ahead. So this was causing a lot of stress. And becoming a business owner, it's also not without stress. So don't get me wrong. It's not that you then have no stress anymore, but I now get to decide what I am working on. I get to decide who I'm working with. I get to decide where I am working, when I am working, how I am working. So this gives me a lot of freedom. And I found out about myself. I am someone who craves freedom. And I already know I was someone who craves diversity. And in a normal job, that was already tricky. I usually wore multiple job description hats in order to have that diversity, but that was then created for me, but was not a normal type of position. While a business owner, you're everything from the toilet girl to the direction to the marketing department, the IT department, the sales department, the accounting department, unless you outsource some of these things. So it's really tapped into my multi-potentialiteness. Now, I'm a multi-potentialite, which means that I have many, many different interests, many, many different talents, and I get to utilize all of them. So all of my experiences in business life, in a variety of jobs, have served me really well in my entrepreneurship. And I get to decide when I wake up, how I wake up, what I do every day. And like I said, of course, there are still challenges, right? Where is my next client coming from? And how am I going to pay the bills, especially in the beginning? You're not an overnight success the moment you register yourself. That was one disillusion that went poof since I registered myself. But it's also an incredibly important part of my journey of self-discovery. in the growth of me as my person, because as a business owner you are forced to deal with the not so great sides of yourself. And when you are not having the success you want, that's usually because there's something within you blocking it. So that means you need to be critical and you need to look towards yourself, and it can be painful, and you need to acknowledge things that you would rather leave hide away from, or things, and you need to do some really deep healing, and you're going to go through at least one, if not more, dark nights of the soul, which are incredibly painful. But the reward is really big on the other side. And again, the freedom, the becoming myself, and the freedom that I have, I would not have found in corporate life, and I would not be the full version of me now had I stayed in corporate.
I love this. And it's exactly so true. And I think it just comes down to us, especially as women. I think we're intrinsically creators and we get to create our worlds this way without anybody telling us what to do. And I think there's a little rebel side in most of us women too that do not do so well and being told what to do, when to do it, how to do it. It just rubs the wrong nerve. So like to be
Yes.
able to have that ability to, do what you want when you want. I think for most women I speak to, I can also speak to myself. Oh, yes, we want successful businesses with the money and all of it, but the freedom, that is the number one for most of us
Mhm.
women. It's like freedom is
Yes.
is
And
queen. Yeah.
funnily enough, I also attract a whole lot of men, but then the sensitive men, the highly sensitive men, I call them the men that are very in touch with their feminine side,
Yeah. Yeah.
which usually
Absolutely.
also can talk really well with
Oh
women
yeah.
and feel at home with women way more than they feel with men.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And that's the whole thing. We have the combination of both sides of ourselves and they both help us to be successful. So as women, our masculine sides will show up where we have to do maybe more of the linear work, but that linear work is very necessary or else we don't have the success. This is like, okay, here's the
Hmm.
sales goal, here's the to-do list and the chart, and then that woman's side comes in and it's the creative and the freedom. And it's the same for men too. I mean, they have to pull out some of their feminine side too to thrive. And so when you hit that healthy
Yes.
balance between the two and recognize that they work, like yin and yang together, it's
And
perfect.
in corporate, I see so many women working in corporate who become very manly,
Of
also very
course,
manly in
yes.
their appearance, very
Yes.
manly in their energy,
Mhm.
and they
Mhm.
become short and to the point, and they start dressing in business suits and become very, well, harsh
Yeah.
almost.
Yeah.
And so very much in the male energy. And I think a lot of women feel they need to do that in order to play with the big boys at the same table and to be taken seriously. And let's be honest, for a very long time, and even currently, women in exactly the same position earn less and are
Yeah.
seen as less than men.
Yes. It's
So
still going on so strongly. Yeah,
I get it.
absolutely.
But it's such a shame to see a beautiful, strong, powerful woman mostly feed her masculine side.
Yeah, well, they say, your environment makes you. And so when you're
Yes.
surrounded by so much, of that masculine side, though it can work very successfully and yes, we can be adaptable to a point, but then for many of us that authenticity in us is knocking hard at the door to the point where it's one day going to start screaming at you to pay attention,
Mhm.
and that's the time before you hit the burnout, right? Before you hit the
Yes,
so
preferably.
that's why they need you. They're like
Yeah.
you're preventative medicine, basically.
And the
Right?
beauty of becoming a business owner is that you can use all of your sides, all of your
Yes,
talents.
yes,
And if you
yes.
discover you don't have a talent for anything, for something, not for
You
anything, but
hire it
for
out.
something, then you
Mhm.
outsource it. You
That's right.
let somebody else do it. And
Yep.
you get to, sometimes you need the masculine side because sometimes things need to get done and you need
Yes,
to get
yes.
go energy in the tuck, 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 tuck types of
Yeah,
things. But sometimes you need to come, especially when you're working with trauma and healing, you
yeah,
need to come from the softer side and
yeah. Mhm.
empathic side, and the comforting, nurturing
Yeah.
side. And here you get to explore every side of yourself.
It's so true. And I like what you were saying before. We're a little off the questions, but that's okay because sometimes these interviews just evolve into something even better. But you said something before which I think is really important, and it's like you have to basically fix when you're in your own business. It's not all like rainbows and unicorns. You're going to come up against some of your bad parts, some of
Hmm.
your parts that don't work so well.
For sure.
And what is great about it, it's extremely uncomfortable, the dark night of the soul. I'm going to use an example many beginning women business owners or any business owner would have is, initially you need to make some money or you don't have a business, right?
Mhm.
But yet you're still a little bit nervous about getting your business going. So you push around paperwork all day, or you study some training, or you mess around with the tech. And it seems like you're doing something productive, but it's really just busy work because unless your business is sustaining itself, you won't have a business. And there will come a point where you can get away with that for a little while, right? But then all of a sudden, like you said, the bills are coming. You know, maybe you didn't get a client yet and you're procrastinating on that. And, all of a sudden, like, wow, I have to stop hiding. I have to really stop treating this like a hobby and make it an actual business. And what's interesting is you like sort of like you are your own sort of parent, teacher, coach. You have to do this for yourself.
Hmm.
And it's not fun and it's not comfortable, but it's necessary. And once you realize that you can actually bring your own self up and fix your problem, let's say in this regard, not things you can't say, but um, then you'll set up a system and a strategy so you don't fall into that ditch again.
Hmm.
And this is some serious pride you're going to feel in yourself when you like
Yes.
get out of your own way and stop self
Yep.
sabotaging, because most of us do some self sabotage, for whatever the reason. It's
Hmm.
there, but we do it, and it is obviously not serving us well. But being a business owner, right, is these are the things you have to go through. It's one of the
Hmm.
best educational experiences in your life is to own your
Yeah.
own business. You're going to learn
You will
so
never
much.
get to know yourself as well as when you
Yes.
become a business owner.
Absolutely. The only other thing I think is I'm sure there's more things, but like for me, travel is one of them. I'm sure being a mom, I'm not a mom,
It
but I'm
helps.
sure being a mom is like that as well. There's these pivotal things in life that you do that all of a sudden you are basically face to face with who you are, and you have to make some choices so that you can give yourself and others the best
Hmm.
possible life experience. So
Yes.
love that. Yeah. And it's normal, right? Like we all go through these things.
Hmm.
There's a lot of beautiful benefits of being your own business owner, but it's not for the faint of heart. There's a lot of work in there, and most of it is emotional and mental stuff, right?
Yes.
Mindset.
No.
Okay, speaking of mindset, um, do you have like a mantra or affirmation? What is it that you say to yourself? Let's even say that you're getting in your own way. You're having a day where you're just kind of getting in your own way, self sabotaging or procrastinating or whatever it is. What is something you do to pull yourself out of that and snap out of it?
Well, it kind of really it depends on how it feels. So one of the things I create with my clients is what I call the HSP rescue kit. And in it, you, on the one hand, put all the things that are giving you stress and you rate it. And on the other hand, you have a list of things that you can do to get yourself back in balance again. And because when you are out of balance and you're feeling, then it's
Yeah.
really difficult to think, what do I need to do now? And then you
Yeah.
can take your list and you can look at it. So it could be that I go in nature. Nature is one of my favorite escapes, and I usually walk about 1.5 to 2 hours every day. Sometimes it's just being with my own thoughts and taking up the energy. I do a lot of grounding when I'm there. Sometimes it's listening to something inspirational or something educational while I am walking. Sometimes I get all these epiphanies of new ideas and new products, and I'm constantly stopping and writing everything down. So that is always a great way. But another technique that really helped me is then I use my non-dominant hand to journal. And
Hmm.
what I write is I don't know how. I don't know when, but I know that it will.
Oh, I love that. Love this. And tell me about, why are you using your non-dominant hand?
Because we have a right brain half and a left brain half. And when we do it with our right hand, it's almost autopilot. The left, in my case, I am actually able to write with both hands, but this one has never been developed because that was not allowed when I was a child. But then you take the one that you don't use that much. So it requires a lot of effort and it requires a lot of focus and a lot of attention, a lot of in the nowness. And then you
Mm,
activate the other part of your brain. So you're both using an affirmation. You're also speaking to parts of you that haven't been actively spoken to before that often. And
wow.
you are there with your complete awareness.
Love this. Okay, I've heard things like this, but I've never put it into practice. I am going to try this because it sounds like it will really enhance this, and sort of excite yourself because you're going to discover new things that you didn't even feel or think before. That's very great. I
And
love
in the
this. That's a
beginning,
tip
I
for
couldn't
everybody.
read what I wrote, right? Because my handwriting was really bad. And now my left handwriting is almost as good as my right handwriting. So
Very
that
cool.
is also
Very
really
cool.
cool to see that progression in your handwriting and also to see that it's not the same every single day. And
Yeah.
by writing it instead of typing it, you're engaging your whole being. And so that's why
Mhm.
you need to write it.
Yeah, I
And
believe in
by doing it
writing.
with the non-dominant side, it requires really all your focus and attention instead of having thoughts while
Yeah.
you're writing. I'm capable of doing two things at the same
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
does not help in this case. So it's you also start seeing that your handwriting isn't the same every day, and it has to do with how you're feeling.
Oh, God, I could talk to you a half an hour on this subject alone. Okay, but we're gonna keep to the task at hand.
Yes.
That's my male brain kicking in right now, right? My masculine side said we're gonna keep to
We
the
have a
task at
program.
hand, right? They both work together. It's good to have a good balance. So,
Yes.
okay, next question. What has been one of your biggest victories or milestones that you have achieved in your business so far?
Well, funnily enough, for a lot of people, I think it would sound surprising, but it was the moment I was finally able to give up on my business entirely.
Oh, that sounds fantastic. That's a gift right there.
Right? Because I didn't know this. I know this now, but I didn't know this at the time. I was working really, really hard on trying to create the wrong type of business for me.
Yes, been there, done that.
It
Hmm.
was right enough that it allowed me to survive and barely pay the bills, but it was wrong enough to never become really successful.
Oh, I love that. That is so true. How you just defined that. I want you to add more to that, but I'm just going to pipe in here. One of the things that I personally had to learn is I had a lot of skill sets. That's a great thing. I could build websites. I could do graphic design. I could run traffic for you. I could do your social media. I could do all the things and
Me
I
too.
could make a decent living at any one of them.
Yeah.
And then I sort of, in the beginning, tried to do them all and wound up so overwhelmed and not liking my experience whatsoever that I started to drag my feet, self sabotage, procrastinate, all the things. And I said, well, wait a second. I could have also went to school to be a lawyer or a doctor. I didn't do that. I could have, but I didn't. So why didn't I do that? It's not my calling. It's not what was meant for me. And it was then that I had to sit down and say, choose one thing. And I read this book, I think it's called The One Focus. It helped me so much because, like you, I'm multi passionate too. But it wasn't serving me in this way. And I had to really pull it in and pull it in. I said, what, if you had to choose one, what is your most joyful way to lead your business life? What is your most joyful thing? And I figured it out. And now it's like bouncing out of bed, on point, not overwhelmed, excited, helpful, So
Mhm.
can you elaborate a little bit more? Because I think many of us go through this feeling
Mhm.
of overwhelm because we can do so much and we don't know. We're like, which way do I go? Which way do I start? How do I do this? So
Well, that
that's a
can
tough one.
be. part of the problem. And for some people, focusing on one thing really works. That never worked for me.
Yes.
So that was not my solution. And I'm very happy that it was your solution. So it's good to talk about all of these so that
Yeah,
people don't think there's
absolutely.
only one type of
That's right.
solution. There
Absolutely.
are many different solutions. So when you discover your blueprint, you also discover your talents. And with the combination of these, you discover what type of business is right for you. So for some people, they need a coaching or a mentoring or what's the other word? Consulting type of business. Other people need to speak on stages,
Yeah.
and others need to do blogging with a paid subscription, and others need to do digital products, or they need to do affiliate marketing, or they need to do network marketing. So that depends on a combination of factors. And if you are trying, like me, I was trying to build a coaching business that was purely a coaching business, but that is not what I am meant for. My role is to be a teacher and a role model and a guide and a mentor. So part of my business really needs to be speaking on stage with digital products that serve it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now I'm creating lots of digital products because that's also what I really love. And I can use all of my talents in creating that. And I can still coach, but that's more like a side business to
Yes.
the teaching and the mentoring that
Yes.
I do
Yes.
through my speaking and with my programs and such. So that's more what I mean, right? So, and because I already had products and an online program, I was doing well enough and to keep my head afloat. But I was never meant to have a full-time healer.
Yes. 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 I
That's
think I
only a small
understand what
part.
you're understanding what you're saying because I too, I have different parts of my business, but they all have that same mission in life, to serve in the same way, but in different different ways. So
Yes.
I hear you, like speaking and writing and all coaching and consulting but it's that like it's coming through you so beautifully that you can offer this and help people to find their voice and how they're best meant to work. So I love
I'm talking
this work
to
that
a
you're
whole
doing.
bunch of people who thought
Yes.
they were supposed to be a coach and who, like me, worked really hard at building a coaching business. And
Yeah.
they were not meant to be a coach, they were meant to be an affiliate marketer,
Yeah.
for instance. Or another one was meant to just be an inspirator and a creator and just create lots and lots of content and things and not coach people in it, even though she was not bad at it and to a
Yes.
point also enjoyed it, or he also, right? And it can be quite confusing sometimes because,
Absolutely.
well, it has a certain appeal, and when you are not close enough connected to yourself, then you can mistakenly see that as your purpose.
Absolutely. And this goes back to what is so beautiful about your work is you helping uh your clients get into their authentic voice, their authentic self because of all that outside noise. It's very
Yes.
confusing and it can be overstimulating and overwhelming and all of the things. And this is that whole centering that is everything. I mean, you are masterful at this.
Thank you.
I hope everybody finds you and checks out your work and sees what you're doing because it's really so important that we, as soon as possible can lay the proper foundation for ourselves, right? Because as soon as we lay that proper authentic foundation for ourselves, then we can go out in the world and just give the best and live the best life for ourselves. And that comes with knowing who you really are and getting out of your own way and having someone help you with those blocks that we talked about. So, um, let's see. On that note, if you had to give a brand new business owner the number one professional tip for them to grow their business,
Mhm.
what would you suggest to them?
Get clarity. Get clarity on your talents, on your gifts, on what you actually enjoy, the thing that brings you joy, and then find out who you can serve with this specific talent that brings you joy when you practice it. because that is the way to build a business that suits you, that brings you that fulfillment and joy that you're craving. And I see way too many people listening to gurus that teach their way or their method, or think, well, if I pivot in that direction, then I must be successfuler because business owners will pay more than private people, or, a variety of limiting beliefs that can play a part in making choices that take you away from joy, until you end up with a business like I had right before I gave up on it. That was, like a dead weight around my neck, pulling me down, making me drown, and causing me so much stress that I was heading towards another burnout again, just
Yes.
because I wouldn't give up on my dream, and not realizing I don't have to give up on my dream. I am trying to manifest the wrong dream for me.
Yes. And it's an honest and innocent mistake. I've made it as well. We set these goals for ourselves and we are so determined to achieve them. And we're gonna get there no matter what. We forget to ask ourselves, are we enjoying the journey? Is this the
Mhm.
right road for me? And we think we have to because there's no other way to succeed or whatever it is. And it is one of the most beautiful, like, wows to me, even doing my own business. Yeah, there was a time I was so ambitious and I was working like 90 hours a week. I had a set goal. I achieved it. It was great. I don't remember much of the time spent except for the achievement of the goal. And then, that was when I was younger. I don't have that much energy anymore, but nor I do, but not to spend it that way. But I remember thinking that that's not correct. That, over, you know, just exhaustion, like you're saying, this burnout. When I got into that clarity that you're speaking about, getting into that clarity, what brings me joy? What is the most joyful way that I can do this? What is the most joyful way? Start like asking that question in anything. What is the most joyful way that I can run my business? What is the most joyful way I can make money? What is the most joyful way that I can experience this relationship? Start to listen to yourself with those answers that come out. I listened, I put it into practice. I have that freedom that you spoke of, that you have. I work the least, I have the most freedom, I am making the most impact. It feels so good. And these are the signs that you're on the right track. You should be
Mhm.
feeling good, right? That is
Yes.
ultimately. And you don't have to assume that it has to be hard or it has to be uncomfortable or it doesn't can't be fun. No, that is not true. I know so many women now that have designed their businesses in alignment with who they really were. And I think all of us are like, is this really possible? Could this really work? And I think a little bit of us are like, nah, that can't work. It's too fun. It's too joyful. It's too easy, so to speak. Not
Yeah, but
easy, but
sometimes people also have difficulty finding that clarity. They ask these
oh,
questions and nothing
yes,
much is coming up. And
yes,
then, they fall into, I don't know. I
yeah,
don't know anymore. And that can then lead to despair, and anxiety and other
yes,
fears. And then you go down the negative
yes, yes,
rabbit hole. So
yes,
in those situations, it's really great if you have people to talk about it, like in my
yes,
community, right, where you can
yep,
discuss this and people can think with you and can come up
absolutely.
with suggestions, and but also based on how they have been experiencing you, because
Yes.
we have a really big blind spot for a lot of the things when it comes to ourselves.
Oh
But
boy.
other people see, and they see,
Yes.
but you constantly say this, and I really.
Yes. Yes.
Oh,
So true.
right. Or
So
I've
true.
heard you say this many, many times. Seriously?
Yeah.
And you're not aware of it. So that is really wonderful. Or work with someone who can point these out. I say, when you are a good mentor, so I've moved away from using the word coach, because what I do is so much more than just coaching. It's
Transformational is what you do.
yes.
Yeah.
Then you have someone who sometimes is your biggest supporter and says, yes, yes, you've got this. Oh, this is so awesome. And yes, yes, you're getting it. You're doing it. And, supports you on the sideline. But you also need someone who can tell you the uncomfortable truths, who can hold up a mirror and say, I've been noticing this with you. And I think that this might play a part in the things that you're experiencing. What are your thoughts on this? And so
Yes.
you need to hold up the mirror, but you also can provide with the exercises or the tools or the tips. You can be a sparring partner when it comes to strategy, or overcoming something. And in my case, I can also be the healer that helps heal these things that come up in your journey that will inevitably come up.
I love everything, Barbara, about what you said. I fully am 100% in belief that you need that, whatever you want to call it, mentor, transformational, healer, coach, helper. We need eyes on us because we can't see it. I didn't see it. I had a coach snap me out of it, and it changed the course of my life into
Yes.
now what is now my joyful business. I didn't have that before. I was on that path of I can do all of these things, but it wasn't feeling me.
Hmm.
Um, these ladies, women, beautiful souls out there, reach out to Barbara because she can help you get very clear. It's going to save you so much time because she's going to help you peel away your layers like this, and she's going to set you right on the right path so that you can start to live out your beautiful dream life, whatever that means to you, however that shows up for you. And before we sign off, just go ahead and share your website link one more time. And
Okay.
yeah.
Yes. So my coaching website is HSPCOACH, Coach Barbara, Barbera.com. For my jewelry, it's Bees Design, BEES, and then design.nl. Or find me on any of the social medias under HSP Coach Barbara as well.
Well, I want to thank you so much. We've spoken in depth now beautifully 2 times already. I'm looking so forward to so much more. You've made an impact
Me
on
too.
my life already, and I think you're
Oh,
amazing at what you're doing. So I am so excited. I am so excited to, you know, get your beautiful work out there. Please reach out to Barbara. She's amazing. And all of you beautiful women out there, never give up on your dreams. Keep always having that purpose in your heart. Always take small steps forward. It's okay. It's not a race. You're just doing this and growing with your own beautiful self. There's no, no one's timing you. Just go and keep moving forward. That's what I like to say. Keep moving forward. You will and enjoy every step of the journey, even the times that are a little bit of a struggle, because you're getting to know yourself more, and that's a beautiful gift. You're front stage with your own life, so enjoy that, and then just keep going for your dreams. So until the next time, I will see you soon. Bye for now. Hey.